In this massive race to build artificial general intelligence, the entire industry seems to be focused on one thing, right? Making AI smarter. But what if that's the wrong goal? What if we're all looking in the completely wrong direction? Today, we're diving into a paper that makes a bold claim. The single biggest thing holding back AGI isn't intelligence, it's something else entirely. This is the question that's on everyone's mind. From the biggest tech boardrooms to the late night sessions in research labs, the whole game is about scaling up. We want bigger models, faster processing, and smarter results. It's the engine driving this whole AI race.
And you see it everywhere. Every new model that drops, every new benchmark that gets smashed, it feels like we're taking another step towards answering that one single question. It's all about pushing the limits of intelligence, capability, and performance. But what if that laser focus is actually just a huge distraction?
And this is where the paper we're looking at today just throws a total curveball. It suggests that by chasing intelligence and intelligence alone, we're completely missing the most critical piece of the puzzle, the one thing that's an absolute prerequisite for AGI to ever function in the real world. Okay, so if how smart can it be is the wrong question, then what's the right one? Well, this paper argues we need to completely reframe the entire problem. It's not about raw brain power. It's about something much more fundamental, something that any advanced system would need to function safely within our society. And boom, there it is. That's the core idea. The argument isn't about how smart an AI can be, but how much we can verifiably trust it. And let me tell you, that single shift in perspective, well, it changes everything about how we should be trying to build AGI. Think about it this way. An artist, a writer, even a scientist, they can make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are often part of the process of discovery and creation. But what about a power grid, a global banking system, or, a fleet of autonomous vehicles? These things operate on absolute, verifiable consistency. They just cannot afford to be wrong. And the paper's point is that AGI has to be built on that very same foundation of rock-solid reliability. So this naturally leads us to the biggest technical roadblock standing in the way of that trust. It's something we hear about all the time, the problem of AI hallucinations. And according to this paper, this isn't just some quirky bug. It's a fundamental, show-stopping barrier.
All right, so what is an AI hallucination, really? Well, to put it simply, it's when an AI just makes stuff up. And it does it with total confidence. It gives you an answer that looks right, sounds right, and feels perfectly correct, but it's completely fabricated. This isn't just a funny little glitch. It's the very reason we can't put our full faith in these systems.
And this slide really gets to the heart of why hallucinations aren't just some bug we can patch later. They're literally baked into the way these models work. Look at this. First, they're probabilistic. They're built to guess. That means they can never ever guarantee something is 100% true. Then they learn from themselves, which creates these inescapable bias loops. And finally, they validate their own outputs, so there's no external fact checker. It's a closed system that's basically doomed to invent things. And that gets to the real kicker, right? It's a logical paradox. How can a system be the sole judge and jury of its own made-up information? It can't, and no amount of extra data or beefier processing power is ever going to solve this fundamental self-referential trap.
Okay, so if the whole way we're building these things is flawed from the get-go, what's the fix? The paper proposes something radical. We need to build something entirely new, a component that's been missing from the AI world this entire time.
The answer, according to this paper, isn't just more. Not more data, not bigger models, not stronger optimization. The path forward is to introduce an external foundation, a layer that isn't based on probability, a layer that acts as a fixed, unchangeable source of truth for what things actually mean. And look, this new layer, it has to play by some really, really strict rules. Meaning isn't found in the text itself, it's locked into the structure. Guesswork or probabilistic generalization is structurally impossible. And this is so important. The AI can reference this layer to check its work, but it can't change it or learn from it in a way that might corrupt that original source of truth. It's like a read-only bedrock of reality for the AI. All right, so how on earth would this actually work? How do you build a system that enforces meaning instead of just guessing at it? This gives us a peek under the hood. Instead of just swimming in a sea of text, the system uses these fixed, rigid components, things like graphs and coordinates, to lock down what concepts mean and how they all relate to each other. Think of it like a semantic contract. It's a deal. The AI doesn't get to make up what things mean. It just has to follow the rules that are already set in stone in this contract. Now this is a huge shift in how we think about AI. For pretty much every AI system out there today, text is the knowledge. It's the water they swim in. It's the data they learn from. And it's the stuff they use to build their answers. But in this new model, text is just the end product. It's a human-readable translation of a meaning that is already permanently locked into that rigid underlying foundation. The AI isn't an author here. It's more like a translator, speaking for a truth that already exists and can't be changed. And here's the real game changer. An AI built on this system literally can't produce a plausible-sounding lie. If it tries to generate something that goes against the foundational structure, it doesn't spit out a hallucination, it just breaks. It throws an error, a system crash, a structural violation that you can spot immediately. Fabrication becomes physically impossible. Okay, but why is this mandatory? I mean, that's a strong word, right? Well, this last section really connects all these technical ideas back to the super high-stakes reality of what AGI will actually be doing in our world. Let's be real, true AGI isn't going to be just a better chatbot. We are talking about fully autonomous systems, systems with long-term memory that make their own judgments and have a direct physical impact on the real world. The stakes are just infinitely higher. Just stop and think about what that actually means for a second. When an AGI is managing a supply chain, or a city's power grid, or a medical diagnosis for a patient, a hallucination isn't a funny mistake you can post on social media. It's a real-world incident, a potentially catastrophic one. So a really good way to wrap your head around this is that this trust layer isn't the AI itself. It's more like an operating system. Or better yet, it's like a law of physics for the AI. It is an invisible but absolute set of rules that the AGI, no matter how powerful or intelligent it becomes, simply cannot break. And that all leads to the paper's really stark conclusion. The ultimate failure of AGI won't be because it wasn't smart enough. It will fail because we never built a defined, verifiable foundation for trust. So what's the big takeaway here? It's really both a warning and a roadmap for the future. Before we can ever hope to have true artificial general intelligence operating safely in our world, we first have to build this non-negotiable infrastructure for meaning and for trust. Which leaves you with a pretty big question. Is our frantic race for more intelligence just distracting us from building the one thing it will absolutely depend on?